Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. I had planned to upload a vlog today. I've been vlogging for the past 2 days and it's just shit. I'm gonna be honest. And I'm not like fishing for compliments here. It was not my best work. Did not want to put it on the internet. I was just in a crabby mood. I did read one of the best books I've read all year long, which we'll get into in a second. But no, it's not seeing the light of day. So instead I have a quarterly update for you. Some stats for the last 3 months, July, August, and September. I know we're not done with September, but just work with me here. And I'll be answering all of the mid-year freakout tag questions with just those 3 months of books. All the questions will be down below if you feel like answering these too. And I'll put the original creators of the tag. I know this isn't technically the mid-year freakout tag, but like they deserve some credit. Also, either I'm getting sick or I swallowed a golf ball. Apologies if my voice gets a little scratchy. Let's get into it. Some surface level stats. Are you ready? I've read 33 books over the last 3 months. If we break it down into genres, I've read 9 horror, 9 fantasy, 8 general fiction or literary fiction, 4 romances. That's surprising to me. I feel like I read more. 2 mystery thrillers and 1 sci-fi. I've decided to just categorize Dungeon Crawler Carl as sci-fi because there's like aliens in here, okay? My average rating for these 3 months is phenomenal. It's a 4.14. That's great. I have some great ratings in here. I think I only had 2 books under a 3-star. And it also calculated my average rating for each genre. I don't know like how helpful this is for me, but here it is. The highest rating is mystery thriller with a 4.5, but that's because I only read 2 books. So I don't think this is like, you know? In next place though is general fiction with an average rating of 4.46. And I read 8 of those, so I think that's a little bit more telling. Next is romance with a 4.37. Both sci-fi and horror have an average rating of 4. Although sci-fi I've read 1 book and horror I've read 9, which is great. Summerween, I think you really helped me out there. And then coming in last place is fantasy with an average rating of 3.83, which is still respectable. I don't know what the point of me doing all that was, but I will never stop reading all the genres. I love them so much. I would like to read more nonfiction, at least in November. So this last quarter of the year, I'm hoping for like maybe 5 nonfictions. We'll see. And I definitely want to up the sci-fi numbers. As for publication date, the majority of the books that I read in this quarter were published in 2025. I read 13. And then the next up was 2024. I read 7 books that were published in 2024. I feel like this is pretty accurate for my reading. I am a new release whore, and I get FOMO for things that I've seen so many reviews for, specifically recently, which happened to be like things published last year. I read 3 books each that were published in 2016 and 2020, 2 books that were published in 2023, and I read 1 book each in 2021, 2019, 2018, 2014, and 2006. Thank you to Sarah Dessen. And I didn't do this beforehand, but let me find out like how many authors I read before already and like how many authors were new to me in this quarter. 1 sec. All right, according to my calculations, I've read from 11 authors that I've previously read from before and 22 brand spanking new authors for me. And I think it went well. Should I find the average rating for each of those statistics? Okay, 1 second. I don't think anyone cares about these stats. I've probably already skipped them, but I am having so much fun. Okay, my findings are as follows. From books I've read before, my average rating was 4.07. And from authors I've never read from before, my average rating is 4.18. And for having twice as many books in the new to me authors, I'd say those are pretty even, you know? So again, I'm not sure what that tells me. I just like doing math. All right, on to the questions. The best book I've read so far. Well, let me tell you the favorites for each month. So my favorite book that I read in July was When the Wolf Comes Home. A big part of it was because of the twist. Obviously that's kind of expired a little bit because I now like can't think about the book without the twist. It doesn't feel very twisty anymore, but my god, so good. We'll talk about this more in a second. My favorite book in August was The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. Oh my god, like look at these besties, they're in the same club. That's crazy. Just a phenomenal romance that hit me in a very personal spot. That was weird. And my favorite book that I read in September, I don't even want to say so far. It's not going to be topped because it's my favorite book of the quarter. And I think it's going down. I don't know, might be too soon to say because I finished it yesterday. But as of right now, it's my second favorite book I've read all year. And that is, drum roll. Okay. It's Gideon the 9th. Yeah! Oh, sweet dear God. Now, this was a 5-star prediction, so it's not that shocking, but I think I was surprised how much I loved it in its way. Like, I thought I might just like the story and how, like, unique it was, but I actually didn't care really too much what was going on plot-wise. The characters were my favorite, and the narration style. The writing was just phenomenal. It was witty, it was very smart, but, like, Gideon is just so down to earth, and I like that the author put in, like, her slang. She said things like hot damn, would randomly talk about how hot all the people around her were. I just loved it so much. I am in denial about a certain thing that happened in here. There's no way. And I did go to the library yesterday and I picked up the next 2 books. I'm probably gonna binge them next month. I'm excited. Although I know that the series isn't finished and I don't even think there's like a release date for the next book. So a part of me wants to wait, but I can't wait. Definitely my favorite book of the quarter, and I will be mentioning it again, okay? We're not done talking about her. Next question, best sequel you've read so far? Oh, actually I did have another stat for you. 12 of the 33 books that I've read this quarter were in a series, and 9 of those were me starting a new series. That's like 27% of my reading was starting a new series. That's, I don't know. There are some that I'm going to continue in. Hello. And there are some that I'm not going to continue in. One of which, for example, House of the Beast. I don't think I care. Sorry. You're so pretty though. Look at you. You're so pretty. The 3 books that I continued in, I guess would be, I mean, this isn't even listed on the internet as a sequel, but it is a sequel for sure. I'm not sure where she went, but in Education and Malice, that was again a sort of sequel following completely different characters, but that one technically does say it's a sequel. That one I would argue with. And then I read this Archie graphic novel for Summerween. It's like my lowest rated book of the quarter. I didn't even talk about it in a wrap up, but I guess technically this is not the first in a series. So I suppose if I had to be technical, the answer would be One Golden Summer. I give this 3.5. I really liked like the middle section in here, maybe like the 3/4 section. Loved it. The perfect summer book. But my God, I got really tired of these characters, but it was a very good book, especially summer book if you need those summer vibes. I know a lot of people like to read it in the opposite season, or if you're in Australia, summer's coming up, babe, pick this up. Definitely made better if you're reading it during summer. I'm just gonna say that. Or you wish it were summer. If you were to ask me though what my favorite book that was in a series that I read this quarter, I mean, obviously Gideon the Ninth, but we can't have this for every answer. I guess I would say that I'm most excited, besides Gideon the Ninth, to continue in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Just because so many people talk about it. My husband's obsessed with it, so that does make me want to read it a little bit more, just because he's not a reader. Like, what has this got in it? And while I didn't really care like what they were doing, like fighting levels and stuff like that, I can see that there's a broader story and that they're going to be executing a lot in the next few books. So I'm ready to do it, and I really like these characters, especially Princess Donut. Next question, new release you haven't read yet but want to. Okay, during my mid-year freakout tag, I said that I wanted to read Good Dirt. I have not read it yet. Emily Wilde 3, haven't read her yet. That actually really needs to happen. And Hungerstone, which I did read this quarter, and I gave it a 4.75. It's so good. I'm gonna suggest 3 more new releases that I would like to read by the end of the year, and those are Open Wide. I was supposed to read that this month. I don't think it's gonna happen, but you never know. Endling, I've had this sitting in my ebook for months, and I need to read it. I love the cover. I love snails, and I've heard very, very good things. And The Second Death of Locke. Oh my gosh, the things I've been hearing about it, and I don't know what it is about this cover. It's not a cover I'd usually be drawn to, but it's so dreamy. I love it so much. I need to get it. Question number 4, most anticipated upcoming releases. In October, Futility is coming out, and I'm reading it with the Literally Dead book club. I'm so excited, but just this book in general sounds so good. I mean, look at the cover, come on. But it sounds creepy. It's described as like witty and funny, I'm pretty sure. I think there are women that are doing some weird shit. Things I love, women, things I love, weird shit. It's really a no-brainer. And then I actually mentioned this in my mid-year freakout tag, but Akwaeke Mezi is coming out with a new paranormal romance. I think it's called The Son of the Morning or something like that. I have the e-arc. I will be reading it. I'm so excited. It's like about Lucifer and shit. And this is the first time that this author has written a paranormal romance. They just write so many different genres. I'm excited to get like a new, what's it called in like that movie, The Avengers? I don't know. Infinity Stone, yes. Why do I make references that I don't fully understand? I'm not sure. And then another book coming out in November from an author I've previously loved is Cursed Daughter. This is the author that wrote like My Sister the Serial Killer. I think I read that in like 2018, 2019. I loved it. It was like slow paced, but there was this eerie quality and the dynamic between this family. Oh my God. It was so good. And it was a little bit smart. I remember kind of not like a giggle, but like smirking several times, but also it was like really heartwarming or wrenching. I don't know. There are a lot of emotions, okay? I actually don't know what this one is about though. I'm hyping this up just based on my experience with the author, which statistically speaking, as we've just seen, is a pretty smart smart thing for me to do. I'm gonna read this real quick. You can skip to the next section if you don't care about listening to me read a synopsis that you could read yourself online. A young woman must shake off a family curse and the wildly held belief that she is the reincarnation of her dead cousin. Oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like a story in here. Oh my gosh, which is a book that I read this quarter. Okay, yes. And look at this, it's wickedly funny, brilliantly perceptive. So I wasn't making up that this book was a little funny. I don't think so. It's about love, female rivalry, and superstition. When Iban gives birth to her daughter, Anii, on the day they bury her cousin Monife, there is no denying the startling resemblance between the child and the dead woman. So begins the belief, fostered and fanned by the entire family, that Anii is the actual reincarnation of Monife, fated to follow in her footsteps in all ways, including that tragic end. Oh god, what like a horrible thing to put on a child. There is also the matter of the family curse. No man will call your house his home, and if they try, they will not have peace, which has been handed down from generation to generation, breaking hearts and causing 3 generations of abandoned Faladun women to live under the same roof. When Anii falls in love with the handsome boy she saves from drowning, she can no longer run from her family's history. I feel like if she saved him, she's break the curse, you know? As several women in her family have done before, she ill-advisedly seeks answers in older, darker spiritual corners of Lagos, demanding solutions. Is she destined to live out the habitual story of love and heartbreak? Or can she break the pattern once and for all, not only avoiding the spiral that led Monife to her lonely death, but liberating herself from all the family secrets and unspoken traumas that have dogged her steps since before she could remember? It's a brilliant cocktail of modernity and superstition, vibrant humor, and hard-won wisdom, romantic love, and familial obligation. This sounds so good! It asks us what it means to be given a second chance and how to live both wisely and well with what you've been given. Oh dear God. So it sounds like it's gonna have all of the emotions. And it really sounds a lot like a couple of stories actually that I read in here. This collection of short stories talked a lot about familial guilt, a lot about sort of familial possession, resentment between mother-daughter. If that sounded good, you should read this collection. And it's set in Lagos. Okay, moving on. My biggest disappointment. Now I measure disappointment maybe a little differently because my disappointments are never lowly rated. My most disappointing books are ones that I get halfway through and I think it's gonna be one of my favorite books of the year, and then it's like a 2-star. Like the second half is 2-star, the first half is 5-star, and then it ends up being like a 3.5. The first of which, the most strong of which, was Terror at the Gates. I truly, like halfway through this, I was like, there's no way this isn't a 6-star book. It was so fast paced, like in a good way. I usually enjoy a slow pace. I guess what I mean to say is that it was taking us day by day, but the days were like off the fucking rails. So a lot was happening, but we got every single minute of the story, and I really like that. I'm gonna keep an eye out for books that are kind of a day in the life, but like a lot of shit is happening in the day. The second half, the pacing went wild. The love story sort of turned into a mechanical robotic thing that I just was not interested in anymore. And the character started pissing me off. She had a lot to complain about, and like she went through a lot of shit, and that's why it was so like close to me, because damn, I really saw myself in a couple of things that she went through. But then like she's complaining that her mother made her eat 3 meals a day. Like, excuse me. Okay, princess, shut up. My memory card is full, hold on. But yeah, a real letdown for me, but I've heard so many people absolutely love this from beginning to end. So I would suggest reading this. Again, check the content warnings, but damn, what a great first half of book. Rather disappointing for me, but I'd love to know what you thought of this book. And then I think I have another one that falls into this category. Oh, I mean, technically this follows that same formula, except not quite as strong. So the first half was just a great time. I liked the budding romance. I liked the banter. I loved all the characters coming together, this found family thing. And then the second half, by the end of the book, I was kind of tired of it. The plot was a little stagnant in the middle, and I don't even really care about plot. I wasn't even really into the romance by the end. And I think the writing got a little less witty as it went on, but maybe that's just because I was getting a little tired. So I don't think this is quite as disappointing as Terror at the Gates. And again, it's still 3.5. It's a good book. And I know a lot of you love this book, but it was a little disappointing for me just because I loved it so much in that first half that I did feel like my spirit give up on me, as I didn't end up giving this a 5-star. I'd love to know how you categorize your disappointing books. Is it like you're really hyped and then you don't like the book from beginning to end? Or is it like you're so invested in the book and then it's like, wait, what? Or do you just categorize them as like your lowest rated books? I guess I should tell you my lowest rated book. This isn't a question, but she deserves her praise, which is a weird thing to say because it's my lowest rated book, but like House of Beth, one of my most memorable books. She literally put a curse on me. It's been broken, although I am feeling sick. Beth, is this you? A book book I will never forget, and she's not done in this video. She's coming up in a surprising way, just like she did in the book. But see, like, I'm not disappointed in her because I didn't really have too much expectation of her. And she was a pretty even read throughout the entire book, and she kind of like came up in a surprising way that made the book better in the end. So honestly, oh wait, I think that's the next thing. The biggest surprise, I think, is House of Beth. Most surprising of all, because I gave this 2.5. Don't tell her, she's a vicious little bitch. Sorry, Beth. But like, I love her so much. I mostly love this video that I made, but even just remembering parts of this book is so silly. I think this book is better in my head after I've read it and got a little space from it. She's an icon forever in my eyes. I'm never giving her up. Beth. Other surprises. When the Wolf Comes Home. Obviously, this is the biggest twist of the fucking year, I would have to say. But I think I was also just surprised how much I love this author's writing and how much emotion that this would get out of me. I'll talk about that more in a second. We're not done with this, babe. But I was truly surprised how much I loved it. I thought I would enjoy it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that's why it's so surprising. I heard this was fast-paced, and I don't, again, love a fast pace. But this is also kind of like Terror at the Gates, where you're getting every moment of every day that they're living, but a lot of shit is happening. I've unlocked that that's something that I enjoy. That's crazy. Look, it's still surprising me. And then I think also, oh, where is she? I don't know where she's gallivanted off to, but Margot's got money troubles. I think at one point this was like a 4 or 5 star prediction, but it definitely surprised me with how close I got to the characters, especially this is a short book, but also I was not prepared for how stressed out this would get me in the most like invested kind of way. Like, I love these characters so much and wanted to protect them so much that I was so stressed out for them, and I enjoyed the book. It was like a big surprise with my level of attachment to everything about this book. Was not expecting that. Favorite new author. Okay, we're talking about this again. Nat Cassidy, I Didn't Know Your Game. Obviously, I haven't read any of his other books, but I will be reading them. I've owned them for a couple years now. Mary's just sitting on the floor right here, just staring at me, judging me for not reading her. And where's your brother, Mary? Oh, here he is. Nestlings. And I think this might be vampiric in nature. Maybe not like completely, but I don't know. That's what I hear. But yeah, I'm just so impressed with the amount of emotions that this evoked in me and brought out in me, and even the type of moods within this book. Like, there is an action-y, fast-paced type of feeling. There was also a cozy found family feeling. There's also devastation. I sobbed. Again, we're not finished talking about this book. This really was phenomenal. I was happy. I was shocked. Every single reading emotion that I could have possibly had was had in this book. And then what brought me even closer to the author was his author's note, which apparently he's famous for. I'm very excited to read the others. And like, damn, that was a nail in the coffin. I love Nat Cassidy. That's me, feral, for more of his books. I know I mentioned this while I was talking about something else, but I was really very impressed with this author's writing. I mentioned it in my mid-year freakout tag, and I was only halfway through, and I can tell you now, having read the entire thing, it's phenomenal writing, and I can't wait to read more of this author. And quickly, as for authors that I've already read and love their writing before, I'm doubling down with my love and adoration for them. Julia Armfield. This was honestly a little disappointing just because I thought it would be my favorite book of the year. Oh wait, as well as Martyr. Martyr gets 4.5, Private Rights gets 4, and one of the biggest reasons he's got such high ratings for me is just the writing itself. It's just so yummy, delicious, well thought, smart, creative, phenomenal writing. And the author of The River Has Roots, Amal El-Motor, who is one of the authors of my favorite book of the year. This is still on top, baby. And yes, just love the writing so much. Newest fictional crush. This was so easy in the mid-year freakout tag. I had solid answers. First of all, hey Blue, but it's a little bit harder this year. First of all, I know my number one spot. We're going to talk about her in a second. But a lot of the romance or romance plots that I read, they were much more interesting than just like a perfect love interest. A lot of them, even in the traditionally published romances, like Not Another Love Song and The Wall in Winnipeg and Me, these love interests, they're not really like something you would drool over. Like, they fucked up. They weren't perfect characters, and that's why I think I love them even more, but I don't think they could qualify for like my book crush, because like, yikes. But it was very interesting, and I think it made the story overall better. But my official book crush of the quarter, and one of the biggest of the year, is my girl Gideon. And yeah, that's right, she's my girl. Back off, bitch. I love her so much. And she does qualify for the next question, which I think is like one of your favorite characters. But there's just a little something extra sprinkled in here. I think it's because she talks about like finding other people attractive, and she talks about like people being hot, and people talk about her having like nice big muscles. But there is an air of like love interest quality that Gideon has, and she's my love interest. I love her so much. And it's funny because she often makes very obnoxious remarks, but as a character, she's very thoughtful and she's very quiet. And even though she's looking out for herself, she she has a very big heart and she will protect the people that she loves, and even like strangers who seem to be the underdog. She like steps up without question. She's a woman of action, and oh my god, I love her. And I'm not kidding here. That surprised me. And that's all I'm gonna say because it's kind of a spoiler, but newest favorite character, even above Gideon, I've got a new icon, and that's Piranesi. I love him so much. Also, I thought this was Piranesi. I thought he was a literal goat man. He's just a normal human, but he's just the sweetest, most heartwarming character. He has such a confidence to him because he's sort of, I hate the word innocent, but he has just such an open heart and open mind. He wants to help other people as much as he can, and the way he thinks is just so simple, but it makes it so generous. You know what I mean? I don't know if you do. There's a point in here where someone has really wronged Piranesi, and what does he do? I would not have done this, and I did not do this in my personal life. He goes up and he says pretty much, I'm sorry. He's sorry, excuse me, for being angry at you. I hope you forgive me. It's like, excuse me. No. Piranesi, what are you doing to me? He's just so sweet. I love the way he thinks, and I won't ever forget him. Maybe the best character I've read all year long. Oh, and Abatha. This bitch. Hello. Look at that. They look so good together. Abatha is so independent. She's got a resilient spirit, which is something I just adore and admire. When things don't go right, even when it's not fair, she still like gets up and she keeps trying. And then things get very interesting at the end, and I'm like, yes. Okay. It was hard to see her struggle so much. I think this felt very cozy in the first half, and then like it turned into an actual horror book, which is what it is. But man, it was hard to see her struggle. But she did not go lying down, you know what I mean? She kept standing up and fighting, and damn, that takes a lot. I love to see that in characters. I love to see it in humans. It's not like me. I will fall on the ground and just bury myself. Let's move on. A book that made me cry. I cry a lot at books, but the ones that made me actually like sob. When the Wolf Comes Home, Bear Town. This feels like a very different type of sob though, because this I was sobbing for myself, and I guess in the first chapter I was crying a little bit for that reason, but later on it's just the story and the characters that I felt so close to and like, oh dear god. But this was like, oh, what the fuck. So yeah, these are probably my two biggest, and there are a couple of books also that I cried after I read them because they kind of like needed a moment to make the impact. I didn't sob when I finished Piranesi, but I did cry a little bit. I started thinking more about like what this was really saying, and how I guess I selfishly take all books into how I could relate it to myself. I don't know if that's like selfish or I mean, I think that's probably a big point of reading. But yeah. I was thinking too many thoughts. And then I had to start reading another book. And then, weirdly enough, this lullaby, no, Just Listen. And I've read this like 15 times maybe in my life. And this is the time that I just started sobbing. I think I did cry while I was reading it, but then afterwards, I had really just not... I had to work through something in that moment because like I was trying to film a clip and I just started bawling, and I literally had to stop and be like, oh my god, what is happening right now? So yeah, those are the crying books of the quarter. Books that made me happy. I mean, all of these really made me happy. Well, Bear Town did not make me happy, I don't think one time. It was a phenomenal book though, 4.75. I think from beginning to end that made me happy. Lights Out. I did not once think about my personal life. Well, is that true? This book was just so fun. It was so high energy. I was squealing and like the entire time I read it. I was so happy when I read this book. I do have the second one. I haven't started it yet. Let me know if you read it and how it compares to the first book. But when I'm looking for happiness, I might seek it out. I feel like it just can't compare to this book. This just came out of nowhere. Well, not really. I read it because so many people told me to. But it truly did feel like it came out of nowhere. It was just like this little meteor of happiness and silliness and goofiness. The most beautiful book that I've purchased, I think might have to go to The Hounding. I just love it. I love her. I like how the text is squiggly. It's kind of like cut and shifted in the middle of it. I like how wiggly these dogs look. And the background, it's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. I want this hung on my wall. I've heard that the cover is better than the actual book. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. I will be reading it, but like, damn, the publisher knew what they were doing with this one. And then books I need to read by the end of the year. I've now read 5 total books in my 25 books to read in 2025. So the 20 books I have to read by the end of the year, which is kind of coming up, are these books here. It's quite a lot, and it's a lot of books that I've been putting off because I'm so intimidated that I'm going to love them. So it's even more than a lot. It's insurmountable almost, but it's going to be happening. I'm kind of hell-bent on that. So look forward to that. All right, that's all I got for you. I know this was kind of a last minute video, but I do love gossiping about my faves. Oh, one more shout out to a book that if I hadn't read Gideon this month, definitely would have been my favorite book of the month and probably of the quarter. Sunburn. Excellent, excellent book. I need to give her props, okay? All right, I need to edit this, start a new vlog, and I'll see you the day after tomorrow. Good.